Good evening, all of you, ma.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening. Okay, good evening, all of you, ma. Here you can see, ma, biology. Okay, the code for biology is 044. Okay, the code for biology is 044. Okay, if anybody is having any doubt, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your doubt, or you can send the message in the chat. Understand? No problem. Or you can unmute yourself and you can ask me. Okay, if you are having any doubt, you can unmute yourself and you can ask. Or otherwise, you can send a message in the chat box. Anything you can do. Okay, now I'll respond. Okay, here biology code is 044. Okay, when you observe here, when you come to the +1, okay, you will be having a 70 marks theory examination and a 30 marks practical examination. Okay, and next, when you observe here, when you observe the course, the +1 course, the +1 course of biology has got 5 units. Okay, in biology, we don't have a chapter wise weightage. We have only unit wise weightage. Okay, that means for a unit, the marks is fixed. Okay, it may have, some units may have 3 chapters, some units may have 2 chapters, some units may have 4 chapters also. And some are having 5 chapters, some are having 7 chapters. But whatever it is, but that unit, okay, from any, okay, from different chapters, they may give different marks, but for a unit, it is fixed. For example, you can see here, diversity in living organisms. Diversity in living organisms includes 4 chapters, like living world, and next biological classification, plant kingdom, and animal kingdom. All these 4 chapters together will accounts about 12 marks. You can see here on the screen. First unit weightage is 12 marks. That means the weightage of this unit, which comprises of 4 chapters, overall is the 12 marks. And next, the second unit, that is a structural organization in plants and animals. Structural organization in plants and animals includes 3 chapters. That means the unit 3, okay, unit 2 comprises of chapter 5, 6, and 7. Okay, which is morphology of flowering plants, and next anatomy of flowering plants, and structural organization in animals. These are the 3 different chapters, which comprises, all these 3 chapters comprises of 12 marks. So the unit 2 weightage is 12 marks. And next, coming to the unit 3. Unit 3 is a cell structure and functions. Okay, it also comprises of 3 chapters. That is the cell, the fundamental unit of life. Cell, the fundamental unit of life. And next, biomolecules. And the third chapter that is present in this third unit is a cell cycle and cell division. These are the 3 chapters that are included under the unit 3, cell structure and functions. Okay, all these 3 chapters together comprises, okay, which constitute the third unit. It accounts about 12 marks. The weightage of the third unit is 12 marks. And next, coming to the unit 4. Unit 4 is a plant physiology. Okay, it comprises of 5 chapters. Okay, that is the first chapter. That is okay. That means that is 16, chapter 16, chapter 17, chapter 18, chapter 19, chapter 20. Okay, that is the 16th chapter. That is transport in plants. Transport in plants. And chapter 17, that is nutrition, mineral nutrition. Okay, we say mineral nutrition. That is different types of minerals that are required by the plants for its normal growth. And next, deficiencies and their symptoms. And next, some metabolism, that is nitrogen metabolism. Okay, that is nitrogen cycle we'll study. And next, the third chapter, that is photosynthesis in higher plants. Okay, that is a chapter 18, photosynthesis in higher plants. Okay, and next, chapter 19, that is respiration in plants. And the next chapter is plant growth and development. Okay, so totally 5 chapters. All these 5 chapters together will be present in the unit 4, and in which the weightage of this unit is 17 marks. And next, coming to the unit 5, which comprises of 7 chapters. Okay, which is considered as a human physiology. That means here we'll study about a human. Okay, that is chapter 1, digestion and absorption. Under this unit, okay, under this unit, so the first chapter is digestion and absorption. And next, breathing. Okay, second chapter, that is breathing and exchange of gases. And next, third chapter, that is body fluids and circulation. And next, fourth chapter, that is waste product. Okay, excretion and waste products and their elimination. Okay, and next, fifth chapter, that is locomotion and movement. And next, sixth chapter, that is neural control and coordination. That means related to nervous system. And next, seventh chapter, that is chemical control and coordination. That is hormones. Okay, hormones and their effects, different hormonal glands, all that. Okay, all these 7 chapters together will form the unit 5, and it comprise, okay, and it accounts about 17 marks. So totally 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 17 plus 17, total 70 marks. Okay, now that is the theory. And you can see here the syllabus Unit 1, diversity of living organisms. Okay, in that the chapter 1, that is the living world. In that we'll discuss what is living, what are the characteristic features of the living, and next what is meant by biodiversity, and next need for classification, taxonomy, systematics. What is the difference between taxonomy and systematics? Okay, and we'll study about the concept of species. What is a species? And a taxonomical hierarchy. That means the classification of living organisms. What are the categories, okay, by which the living organisms were classified? And next, you might have studied this one, binomial nomenclature, in your lower classes. And next, tools for study of taxonomy. That means every time if you want to study any living organism, every time we can't go to the forest or to the wild where we'll find that organism. So we'll find some places where we can observe that organisms and we can study those organisms, like museums, zoological parks, herbaria, botanical gardens, keys. What are these keys? For identification. Okay, these are the topics that we'll study under the chapter 1. And next, chapter 2, that is biological classification. Okay, this one already you might have known something related to this in your 9th class while you are studying about a classification, diversity in living organisms, biological classification, 5 kingdom classification. Okay, before this 5 kingdom classification, what are the other types of kingdom classifications? And we'll study some of the salient features and the classification of Monera, Protista, and fungi. Okay, a little bit elaborated into major groups. That means their classification. And next, some concepts related to lichens, viruses, and viroids. Viruses and viroids. And next, chapter 3, this is completely related to plants, that is the plant kingdom. Okay, that means already you might have known something related to this plant kingdom. Okay, you have studied something, but here a little bit elaborate, extension of 9th class. Extension of 9th class will have salient features and the classification of plants into major groups. Okay, there are 5 major groups of plants, that is algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Okay, in this in all these topics we'll study about the salient features, that is the characteristic features of all these organisms, and the distinguishing features, that means the classification we'll study, and the distinguishing features, that is the differences between different organisms of the same group. And we'll study some examples of all these groups. And we'll study about angiosperms a little bit detail. Okay, up to classification, up to class, characteristic features and examples. And in this also we'll study about the plant life cycles, that is the diplontic life cycle, haplontic life cycle, and a diplohaplontic life cycles, and what is meant by alternation of generation, okay, which is only observed in plant kingdom. Okay, organisms that are included under plant kingdom. Okay, that is, and next chapter 4, that is the animal kingdom. Okay, that means he'll okay, here the classification of animals. So basis of classification, that means what are the characteristic features that we'll observe while classifying the animals. That's what we say, salient features and the classification of animals, non-chordates up to phyla level and chordates up to class level. That means classification of non-chordates, that is the invertebrates up to phyla only. We don't go with the classes and all that. only up to phyla. But when you come to the phylum Chordata, okay, we'll study about the general characteristics of a Chordata and also up to the class level. The Chordata is divided into different classes, and all those classes also will study. Okay, like cyclostomes, Osteichthyes, Chondrichthyes, okay, amphibia, reptilia, aves, okay, and mammalia. Already you might have studied something related to this in your lower class, but here it will study a little bit more, some more important characteristics with more examples we'll study. Okay. And next, coming to the structural organization in plants and animals, already we said the unit 2 includes 3 chapters. That is chapter 5, that is the morphology of flowering plants, which will study the morphology, that is the morphology and modifications. Morphology of different parts of flowering plants like root, stem, leaf, inflorescence, flower, fruit, and seed, and their modification, that is how they are modified. Okay, they are modified into different forms. The root might be modified, stem may be modified, leaf may be modified to perform different functions. All that one will discuss, and we'll study what is inflorescence and types of inflorescence, flower and types of flowers, fruit and the types of fruits, and seed and the types of seeds. And along with that, we'll also study description of families. Okay, some families were described like Fabaceae, Solanaceae, and Liliaceae. Okay, which are related with the practicals, these families. Okay, practicals, along with the practicals, we can able to study this one. Chapter 6, that is anatomy of flowering plants. Okay, anatomy of a flowering plant. Anatomy and functions of different tissues and the tissue systems in dicots and monocots. Okay, we'll find, okay, you already have studied tissues now. Tissues in 9th class. If you are a CBSE, you study in 9th class the different types of tissue: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, the simple permanent tissue, and a complex permanent tissue like a xylem and phloem. Okay, and you might have studied okay, and next we'll also study about monocot root, monocot stem, monocot leaf, dicot stem, dicot root, and dicot leaf. Okay, and what is their difference? How we can differentiate monocot from the dicot, either it may be the stem or root or leaf, or how we can differentiate internally the root from the stem and stem from the leaf, and all that. And we'll also discuss about the secondary growth. Secondary growth also we'll discuss. Okay, and next chapter 7, that is the structural organization in animals. In that we'll discuss about animal tissues. Okay, animal tissues, already you studied no epithelial tissue, connective tissue, and next nervous tissue, muscular tissue. Okay, and along with that we'll also study the morphology and anatomy and functions of different systems. Okay, digestive system, circulatory system, respiratory, nervous, and reproductive system of an insect like cockroach. A brief account only. Okay, in the NCERT textbook they have given earthworm and frog also, but that was deleted from the portion since very long before, but still it is present in the NCERT textbook. So no need of that earthworm and frog. Even it is deleted from the NEET portion also. Only it will be related with the cockroach only. We'll study about a cockroach only. Even in the NEET also, Earthworm and frog is not there. Okay. And next, unit 3. It also comprises of 3 chapters: structure and cell structure and functions. In that, chapter 1, cell, the unit of life. In this, we'll study about cell theory, which you have already studied, and cell as the basic unit of life. Okay, structure of prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. All you might have studied in your 9th class itself. But here we'll discuss in detail, a little bit elaborate and detailed and more explanation. We'll go a little bit in depth. Okay, plant cell and animal cell. Difference between plant cell and animal cell. Cell envelope, that is cell membrane, cell wall. And next, the different cell organelles, structure and function of different cell organelles like endomembrane system, like which includes endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, Golgi bodies, lysosomes, vacuoles. And next, mitochondria, plastids, microbodies. And we'll study about the cytoskeleton, structure of cilia, flagella, centrioles, ultrastructure and function, how the centrioles, the cilia, flagella, cytoskeleton, cilia, flagella, centrioles, ultrastructure and function. And we'll also study about the nucleus and chromosomes. Okay, and the second chapter under this unit is chapter 9, that is biomolecules, which comprises of chemical constituents of living cells. What are the different chemical components that are present in the living cells? Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, water. Okay, which we call it as biomolecules. And we'll study in detail about all these biomolecules like structure and function of proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, nucleic acids. And we'll also study about metabolism, which is a very important characteristic feature of living organisms. No, okay, any non-living object cannot perform metabolism. Only any object which is able to perform metabolism, that is considered as a living. And next, we'll study in detail about enzymes, the characteristic properties of enzymes, enzymatic action, how enzymatic action occurs, what are the factors that affect the enzymatic action, classification of enzymes, and next, what are the structures that will help the enzymes to function actively. Those are called cofactors. That one we'll study under this chapter 9, biomolecules. And in chapter 10, it is having cell cycle and cell division. So we'll discuss about the cell cycle. That means how every time the cell will not undergo cell division. No, in between some resting period will be there. So what is that resting period? How much time it will take? How much time the cell division will occur? What is the time period that is taken for the interphase? What is that resting period, and how much time it will take for a cell division? Okay, that's what we'll see. And there are 2 types of cell divisions. One is mitosis and the second one is meiosis. So we'll study about mitosis in detail and meiosis and what is its importance. What is the importance of mitosis and what is the importance of meiosis? That is, we'll study under significance. Why the cell will undergo mitosis? When the cell will undergo mitosis? Why the cell, when the cell will undergo meiosis and why the cell undergoes meiosis? Okay, that one also we'll discuss here under the cell cycle and cell division. And next, unit 4, It comprises of 5 chapters. That is chapter 11, transport in plants. Okay, we study movement of water, gases and nutrients, cell to cell transport, that is diffusion, facilitated diffusion, active transport. Okay, types of transports. And we'll discuss the plant and the relationship between plant and water, that is plant water relations in the form of imbibition, water potential, osmosis, plasmolysis, and how the long distance transport of water will occur in the plant, because there are some plants which will grow up to a height of 90 meters. Then in that case, how the water is transported to that high level. Okay, that is what we'll study under long distance transport of water. Okay, how water is absorbed by the roots from the soil, and from the roots how it is transported to the conducting tissue by apoplast and symplast pathway, and the transpiration pull, that means from the roots to the upper parts of the stem, how the transportation occurs. Okay, what is root pressure and guttation, very very important. And next, how transpiration helps, what are its advantages and disadvantages. And next, stomata, structure of stomata, already we'll study in the anatomy, and again we'll study here how the opening and closing of stomata will take place, that is the regulation of stomata. And next, uptake and translocation of mineral nutrients, uptake and translocation of mineral nutrients. There is a transport of food, phloem transport, that means how the transport occurs in the phloem, and that is explained by mass flow hypothesis, and that one we'll discuss here. And next, chapter 12, that is mineral nutrition. Okay, here we'll have some idea related to hydroponics, that means soil-less cultures, how the soil-less cultures are, how the soil, okay, how the plants are grown without soil by using liquid medium, that is called hydroponics. Elementary idea of hydroponics as a method to study mineral nutrition. So how this hydroponics useful in studying the mineral nutrition, to study, okay, to understand essentiality, that is essential minerals, which are differentiated as macro and micronutrients. Okay, and what is their function, that is their role in the normal growth and development of the organism. And next, deficiency symptoms, how a farmer can understand, okay, the soil is deficient with this mineral. So what are those deficiency symptoms? And next, mineral toxicity. Okay, that mineral is required by the plant, but that too in a certain amount. If the mineral nutrient is present in excess than the required, then it causes a toxicity, that is called mineral toxicity. Okay, how we can able to identify this mineral toxicity? And we'll study about nitrogen cycle, that is the nitrogen metabolism, nitrogen cycle, and biological nitrogen fixation, that is by how rhizobium, you might have studied in your lower class, rhizobium fixes the atmospheric nitrogen into the roots of leguminous plants, how that process will occur. That one we'll study in detail in this chapter. And next, chapter 13, that is photosynthesis in higher plants. Okay, photosynthesis as a means of autotrophic nutrition. This is because the plants can prepare their own food. How it is happening, that one occurs by photosynthesis. So how the process of photosynthesis occurs only in this way, how they came to understand. Okay, some experiments were conducted. Those are that one will study under early experiments. And next, where photosynthesis occurs, that is site of photosynthesis. Precisely, generally, okay, if I ask now means you say it occurs in the chloroplast. Here we'll study precisely in the chloroplast also where the photosynthesis will occur. especially. Okay, that is pigments involved in photosynthesis. Okay, elementary idea. Okay, that means basic study about the pigments, different types of pigments. And next, photochemical and biosynthetic phases of photosynthesis, that is light reaction and dark reaction. Where light reaction occurs, where dark reaction occurs, what are the different chemical events that will occur during a light reaction and a dark reaction. And we'll study what is meant by cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay, we'll study what is meant by phosphorylation, what is meant by photophosphorylation, and what is meant by cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. All we'll study in detail. And next, chemiosmotic hypothesis, that is ATP synthesized. For any metabolic activity, energy is required. That energy is provided in the form of ATP. How ATP is synthesized? Okay, that is by chemiosmotic hypothesis. Why it is called as a chemiosmotic hypothesis? Okay, and we'll study about the photorespiration. Okay, photorespiration. And we'll also study about the C3 and C4 pathways. Okay, what is meant by C3 pathway and what is meant by C4 pathway? Okay, and the factors affecting photosynthesis. These are all some new topics that you might have not studied in your lower class. Simply you studied what is photosynthesis, what happens. Okay, some basic idea only you might have studied. But here we'll discuss in detail a little bit complex. Okay, this is very important topic. And next, chapter 14, it is also very important. That is cellular respiration. That is respiration in plants. We can also say, okay, exchange of gases. That means in plants, how the exchange of gases will occur. Did exchange of gases will occur? And the question arises, do plants breathe? Yes. Okay, how do they breathe? What is the different structures that they help them in exchange of gases? And and we'll also study about at respiration at the cellular level. That means inside cells, how the respiration occurs. Okay, that is differentiated into glycolysis. Okay, in the absence of oxygen, it undergoes fermentation. In the presence of oxygen, it undergoes TCA cycle, that is commonly called as Krebs cycle. And finally undergoes electron transport system, okay, which are the part of aerobic respiration. And finally, the huge amount of energy in the form of ATP is produced. And next, energy relations. Number of ATP molecules generated. What are the total number of ATP produced and what is the net gain of ATP molecules and how much amount of energy is released from each molecule of ATP. Okay, that one we'll study here. And next, amphibolic pathways. Amphibolic pathway, that means when you observe, when I say example for catabolism means it, okay, immediately you say respiration, but actually respiration is not a catabolic process. It also involves anabolic process. That's why they say it as an amphibolic pathway. Amphi means two. That means it is a, if you see in only one way, it looks like a catabolism. But if you see in another way, it also acts as a anabolism, constructive process also. That's why the respiration is considered as a amphibolic pathway. How it is considered as an amphibolic pathway, that one will discuss. And next, the respiratory quotient. Respiratory quotient. Respiratory quotient means, okay, the energy, how much energy is produced from different respiratory substrates, and how we can able to understand which respiratory substrate is undergoing cellular respiration to yield energy. That we can study under this respiratory quotient. That is chapter 14. And next, coming to the chapter 15, there is a plant growth and development. Okay, this is a little bit related to the +2. Okay, some concepts present in this plant growth and development. Okay, will also comes in the +2 syllabus also. It is an integrated. So in this, we'll study about the seed germination. By studying the seed germination, we can understand the growth and development of the plant. And next, what are the different characteristic features by which we can understand the growth and development of the plant? And next, measurements. What are the different measurements we have to take into consideration? Okay, for some length, some volume, some size. Okay, like that, we'll take into consideration different ones to understand the growth. And next, phases of plant growth. And we'll also study the growth rate. Okay, growth rate, exponential growth, logistic growth, that is. And next, the conditions for growth. Okay, what are the factors that are affecting the growth? That's what we can see under these conditions. And next, differentiation. What is meant by differentiation? What is meant by de-differentiation? And what is meant by re-differentiation? All will study under this. Okay, where occurs and which part it will occur. And next, a sequence of developmental process in a plant cell. Okay, and finally, we'll discuss about the growth regulators, that is plant growth substances or plant hormones, simply we can say. Like auxin, you might have studied in your 10th class, auxin, gibberellin, cytokinin, ethylene, abscisic acid. Okay, here we'll study a little bit detailed how the discovery of all these ones have been taken place, who discovered, okay, what is the basic chemical substance that are present in all this, okay, what is their physiological roles, okay, how the farmers can use this one, all will be studied under this one. And we'll discuss about seed dormancy, vernalization, and photoperiodism. Okay, these are some of the concepts that we'll study under this plant growth and development. Okay, unit 5 we'll discuss in the tomorrow class.